Ahead of a meeting this weekend of G20 finance ministers in Britain, Mr. Darling said it was in everyone's interest to work together. He's calling for an increase in funds for the International Monetary Fund to boost poorer countries' recovery.
Across the world, countries are dealing with the same problems, the result of the most difficult economic conditions seen for generations. Here in the UK, as you will know, our approach has been first to provide direct support for the economy, second, to strengthen the financial system, indeed preventing its collapse last October, then cleaning up our banks and enabling them to lend and restructure. And at every stage, we have sought to act together with other countries. And we must work together, not as a small group of advanced economies, but globally, including the emerging and developing economies. That's why the G20 matters. Together, we represent over 80% of the global economy, and no problem should ever be too great or too difficult for us to deal with. I believe the political will is there now, and we need to seize the moment and act together. Now, together, our efforts to support the economy will have all the more impact and help us come out of this global downturn sooner and stronger than would otherwise be the case.
Mr. Darling said complete consensus between nations could not be expected overnight.
This weekend should be the next important step on the road to global recovery. We should not expect to achieve complete consensus overnight, but we can start to build that consensus by recognising that our common interest need not contradict a country's self-interest. In fact, it can complement it, and it's all part of rebuilding global confidence. And the success of our presidency will be judged on our ability to bring countries together and to take action together. Once, when we talked of the global economy, what we meant was the West and Japan, but not anymore. And the lesson from this economic crisis is that where once the advanced economies could lead, we now need to work in partnership with these new economic partners. China is already the world's third largest economy, and emerging markets contributed to half of the growth in the world trade in 2007. And because our globalised economy sees that where a pound is spent in Beijing or Bremen, it is a job saved in Bradford or Birmingham, this is what cooperation is all about, and this is what the G20 presidency is seeking to achieve. Together as the G20, no global problem should ever be too difficult for us to tackle and resolve, and that includes plans for the recovery.
The Chancellor said it was important to take action now to prepare for economic upturn.
Support during the downturn must not prevent us from preparing for the upturn. Now, there are many reasons why Britain over the last 10 years saw its living standards increase more rapidly than many other countries. And looking ahead, I see many opportunities for us and for other countries as the world economy is expected to double in size over the next decade. And we must use the opportunity we have now, not just to tackle today's problems, but to prepare for the future. As the Prime Minister said only last week, ours is a time for renewal, for a plan for tackling the downturn and preparing for a sustainable future. Every country can play their part in a global New Deal, and in that way, prosperity will benefit us all.
This weekend's G20 finance ministers meeting will be followed up by a leaders' summit on April the 2nd in London.